Have you ever seen shapes like this in an examination and got confused? Have you ever heard of the Pythagoras Theorem? Today, I will be showing you everything you need to know about the Pythagoras Theorem. And at the end of this video, you'll be scoring 10 out of 10 for any questions that concerns the Pythagoras Theorem. Walk with me. Take the next seconds to like and subscribe as a sign of appreciation.
The word Pythagoras is actually the name of a Greek mathematician, and he found out that in a right-angle triangle, mind you, it must be a right-angle triangle. He found that the square of the hypotenuse, which is the longest side of a triangle, is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides of the triangle. I will explain more as we move ahead. In the previous slide, I talked about a right-angled triangle. Now, a right-angled triangle, if you already did not know, is a triangle that has one angle that is exactly 90 degrees. As you can see, this angle right here with the arrow is 90 degrees, and the other angles are less than 90. Now, the side that is directly opposite the angle 90, which is the longest side of the triangle, is always called what? The hypotenuse. And the side opposite the hypotenuse, which is usually the second longest side, is called the opposite. Then the third side, which is the bottom, is called the adjacent. These are the three sides of a triangle. Remember, a triangle is any object that has three sides.
Like my colleague said earlier, I was going to elaborate further. The Pythagorean formula states that the square of the hypotenuse, which is c, which is the longest part of this triangle, is equal to the sum of the square of the opposite and the adjacent. You can see the opposite here is b and the adjacent is a. So Pythagoras is simply saying that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. I will apply this formula in the next slide.
In example 1, we can see that the hypotenuse, which is c, is unknown. And we have the opposite to be 4 and the adjacent to be 3. To find c, we simply follow the formula, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So, a squared, which is 4 squared, plus b squared, which is 3 squared, is equal to what? C squared. 4 squared is 16 plus 3 squared is 9 equals c squared. 16 plus 9 is equal to 25. Now, 25 is equal to c squared. To find c, we have to find the square root of both sides. So, c is equal square root of 25. Square root of 25 is equal to 5. That means c is equal to 5. In example 2, we have the hypotenuse to be 15 and the opposite to be 12. We don't know the adjacent, which is a. What do? We know our formula to be a squared plus b squared equals to what? C squared. Now, our a squared, we don't know it, so we write a squared plus b squared. We know b to be 12. All equals what? C squared. We know c squared to be 15 squared. So, a squared plus 12 squared is 144. You write down your 144. Equals 15 squared is 225. So, a squared is now equal to what? You take 144 to the right-hand side of the equation, so you have a squared to be equal to 225 minus 144. 225 minus 144 is equals to 81. To find a, we have to find the square root of both sides. The square root of 81 is equal to what? 9. So, a is equal to 9. We have successfully used the Pythagoras theorem to find the hypotenuse in the first example and also find the adjacent in the second example. Now let's take a practical example. A ladder is leaning against a wall. The foot of the ladder is 6 meters away from the wall. And the ladder reaches 8 meters up the wall. How long is the ladder? As you can see, I've drawn my wall to be 8 meters tall cause they said the ladder reaches 8 meters up the wall. And the foot of the ladder is 6 meters away from the wall. So you can see, the ladder is 6 meters away from the wall. Finally, you can see the ladder is slanting on the wall, the way a ladder is supposed to be. Now you can see that we have formed a right-angled triangle with this information. You can easily tell that this 6-meter part of the triangle is the adjacent. The part of the wall, which is this 8 meters, is the opposite. Then the ladder itself is the hypotenuse. Now we can solve With the information we have, we just apply our Pythagoras theorem. We have your a squared, which is your adjacent, to be 6 squared, plus your b squared, which is your opposite, to be 8 squared, equals what? C squared, which is unknown. 6 squared is 36, plus 8 squared is 64, all equal to what? C squared. 36 plus 64 is equals to 100. So 100 is equal to what? C squared. So to find your c, you have to find the square root of both sides. Square root of c squared is c, and square root of 100 is equal to 10. That means c is equal to 10. Therefore, the length of our ladder, which is the hypotenuse, is equal to what? 10. The length of a rectangular garden is 12 meters long and 9 meters wide. What is the length of the diagonal across? As you can see, we have presented the garden in a diagram, 12 meters long and 9 meters wide. Then we all know the diagonal is the line that cuts through. Now we can see that we have represented our right-angle triangle again. Unlike the other ones, the opposite here is the 12 meters part, and the adjacent is the 9 meters part. But it does not matter. So long you are squaring the other sides and adding them and equating it to the square of the hypotenuse, which is the longest part, the answer will still be correct. We are simply saying 9 squared plus 12 squared is equals what? C squared, which is the longest part and also the diagonal. So, 9 squared is 81, plus 12 squared is 144, all equal to what? C squared. 81 plus 144 is equals to 225. So we have our 225 is equals to c squared. Next, we find the square root of both sides, to get c. This gives us that c is equals to square root of 225. Square root of 225 is equals to 15. Therefore, our diagonal is 15 meters. And that is all about Pythagoras theorem. Congratulations, you are now a master of the Pythagoras